Hello and a very good evening. What a Monday this has been. If in the morning of this very Monday we were discussing as whether to do a debate on SBI and electoral bonds, what a Monday this has been. By evening, the debate has now shifted over CAA, and we just can't weigh them both. Which one is bigger and which one is more important? To help me out, to process things, I would also be joined by senior journalist Shikha Mukherjee. But first thing first, these are the rules of the new CAA, which has now been implemented. Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be calling it new CAA. It is not a new Citizenship Amendment Act, because this Citizenship Amendment Act was passed on 11th of December 2019 in the Parliament. That's right. On 11th of December 2019, it was passed in Parliament. On 12th of December 2019, Citizenship Amendment Act 2019 had received the assent of the President, which means it is a law and good to go. But there is a big but. It has taken 4 years, plus few months, plus few days, leading up to 2014 Lok Sabha election, that finally Citizenship Amendment Act 2019 is being implemented. Rules have been notified in 2024. That's right, 2024. If my sources are to be believed, say in 72 hours time, within 72 hours time, election dates are expected to be announced. It could be within 48 hours, it could also be 24 hours. You never know, because election dates are likely to be announced this week itself. And if sources are to be believed, what I've learned, within 72 hours, the upper limit. Today being Monday, the rules have now been notified, and it's a 39-page PDF which I've just downloaded. These are the rules of the new CAA, or the CAA 2019. We will go through them one by one, but now let's introduce senior journalist Ms. Shikha Mukherjee. Ma'am, I know you have a bad throat.
I do. I'm so sorry if I'm going to be like this.
Don't be
But
sorry. Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. The government isn't sorry implementing CAA in 4 years' time. Why are you apologizing for mere coughing? So there is nothing to be worried about. But I'm so glad you have given your time, even with your ailments, the allergy, and I'm so grateful that you're helping me decode a lot of things, which is equally important for viewers to understand, because there has been a long CAA debate. Ma'am, when I ask you about CAA, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Modi ki guarantee.
Okay, okay, and guarantee has been fulfilled.
This last guarantee which was waiting to be done, 370 Jammu and Kashmir, that's done. UCC hasn't been done, and this was pending. So I guess, and Ram Temple has been built. So of the four guarantees that made up for what he promised in 2019, this was the one that, having been adopted as law, the rules are what was holding it up. So this is Modi ki guarantee as far as I'm concerned, and the gift from Modi to the nation before the 2024 round of guarantees are issued.
Well, you are calling this a gift, because if the memory serves right, we have seen a lot of protest over CAA in several parts of the country, in West Bengal, in Kerala, in Meghalaya, in other northeastern parts, including Assam. So you are calling this as a gift to the country?
Yeah, that's because in 2021 West Bengal State Assembly elections, this was the promise that Amit Shah made over and over again. This is what Modi said he would do. And he said that this would be a great boon to people, especially from the Matua community, a scheduled caste community, living in small pockets of West Bengal, who are actually from across the border, and they are at the heart of this CAA controversy actually in West Bengal. On the one hand, Mamata Banerjee says that she will allow no detention camps, which the NRC process immediately uh, brings into effect. And on the other, there is the BJP, the Home Minister, and the Prime Minister, who say that the CAA is a gift of citizenship to, especially to minorities, religious minorities living in certain specific countries, and the countries are named. So I
Mhm.
think that
Pakistan,
when I
Afghanistan, and Bangladesh.
Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh are most certainly part of that list, and therefore, when it says that this is what they're doing for the Hindu minorities of that place, they're
Hindu,
actually
Parsi, Jain, Christian, but no Muslim.
but no Muslims. So this is the first time, and let me say what I have to in very brief, which is that this is the first time that religion as the basis of citizenship has been conceded by the state of India because the president's assent is required. Therefore, the Indian state, has accepted religion as the basis of citizenship, which overturns what I believe is the constitutional provision of equality of religion.
So, yet you would call this as a gift because if this is
I am using the word gift within
puts
quotes.
gift, okay, you are using the word gift because that was promised by Prime Minister Modi. But then, ma'am, let's get into the black and white of this document. You have a copy. I've shared it with you
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So it says to be published in the Gazette of India, Extraordinary Part 2, Section 3, subsection so and so. Date is 11th of March 2024. Titash, my producer, if you can just show some of the excerpts of this notification. This basically officiates CAA's implementation with all the rules. Now, it says that short title and commencement, blah, blah, blah. The rules may be called Citizenship Amendment Act 2024. They shall come into force on the date of the publication in the official gazette, which is today. In the Citizenship Rules 2009, hereinafter referred to as the said rules, after Rule 10, the following rule shall be inserted, namely, application for grant of citizenship by registration or neutralization by persons eligible under Section 6B, an application from a person eligible under Section 6B for grant of citizenship by registration or neutralization shall not be entertained unless the application from a person of Indian origin for registration as a citizen of India fulfilling the conditions under Clause A of subsection 1 of Section 5 is submitted in Form 11A and in accordance with Rule 4, except clauses A and B of the said rule. So, ma'am, if I have to start with this point, the application from a person of Indian origin for the registration as a citizen of India fulfilling the condition, is this if this is a mandatory rule, which means whoever is applying for this has to be a citizen or has to have Indian origins.
Yes, indeed. And if you and let's forget about what's here in the or what's here in the forms. I mean, I was actually looking at the forms
Hmm.
and the documents that need to be attached.
True.
So, what are the documents that need to be attached? A passport, a birth certificate, etc. And this is a problem which was faced in Assam when the NRC was being processed. If you remember, there are something like 26 lakh people
Mhm.
who were stripped of their citizenship because because there were problems with having the right kind of documentation. There were
And
mismatches between. No, wait, no, let me
huh.
finish. This is serious. There were problems which emerged because the people who had been assigned under contract to register the names and register the documents made huge errors, and this was pointed out in the Supreme Court. Therefore, I am absolutely terrified of how this process is going to work out now that it is being unrolled across the country. That was happening in Assam. Assam was full of flaws. It had to be revised and re-revised, and there were enormous problems with the commissioner and with the coordinator. And that fellow now he has got a kind of interim order preventing the Assam government from taking action against him. This is a mess. And is this therefore a messy piece of work? And this is a bureaucratic piece of work, after all, approved by the Home Minister. Is this mess going to be perpetuated across several other states? That's my question. And therefore, when I use the word gift in quotes, I was being really sarcastic.
Okay. Well, this is the form that Shikha ma'am is referring to, form number 11A, and it says application for registration as a citizen of India under Section 6B of the Citizenship Act 1955, made by a person of Indian origin, fulfillment and condition under Section 51A of the Act. Now, according to this, you have to first put your picture, and thereafter you have to give out your details, that what's your name, the district, the state and the country, your father's name, your mother's name, your wife's name, details of residence in India, date of entry into India. Then you also have to give a declaration: I have resided in India continuously for a period of 12 months immediately preceding the date of application. During the 8 years immediately preceding the said period of 12 months, I have resided in India for a period amounting in aggregate to less than 6 years. Okay, which means 8 years prior to 12 months of staying consistently in India. At least out of this 8 years, in aggregate, you have to show that you have not stayed in India for 6 years. Is that right, ma'am?
That you have stayed in India for about 14 years altogether, 12 or
True.
14 years altogether.
Right. So,
And
and
therefore, hang on. And each of these, if I remember from the Assam situation, each of these, you may be shifting from place to place. You have to show evidence that you were around.
how is that possible?
I don't know. In Assam, it was a mess. Therefore, you think it's not going to be a mess across the other states of India?
And and there is no clearer picture about those whose citizenship were stripped, and they were put behind,
Into detention camps.
in detention camps, and God knows what is the condition of those detention camps. There had
You
been
know very well what the condition is, Tamal. They're horrific.
I know, but then the Assam government, Himanta Biswa Sharma is saying that no protest would be allowed, no bandh would be allowed on CAA, and this is the rule of the law, the law of the land, and of course everybody has to follow it. But then the state government, the same chief minister, hasn't given out any statement as what is the condition of inside those detention camps. And it is baffling at times as whether the people who are there inside, in what condition they are in.
See, I am really puzzled. Let me say why. Because we've had these detention camps for so-called illegal entrance into India for different communities who've come into India. You've had it for the Chakmas, you've had it for the Rohingyas, etc. But what happens after that? I mean, after a while, we don't know where these detention camps are, what's happened to the detention camps, where the population has gone, and then it's a mess. Therefore, what I'm anticipating is that this mess will be perpetuated.
Ma'am, let us focus on this one line. We all
Yeah.
know the clause of the CAA. It says in the same very form, after you have given your details of date of entry and other stuff, you have to mention your sex, occupation, if in service, address of employer, mark of identification. And now, point number 7, which is also written in bold, please specify which of the minority community from Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and Pakistan you belong to, namely Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, Jain, Parsis, and Christians. This is a particular clause which has been mentioned, and it is part of the CA. my humble question here to the government is, just couple of days back, in fact yesterday, Manipur government had deported people who had come from Myanmar and had settled in the hills of Manipur, and they were deported, calling them illegal immigrant, while those people had maintained that they are persecuted back home in Myanmar. So on one hand, Manipur government has sent them back. That has also been criticized a lot on social media as people who have just escaped persecution and they had taken shelter in places like Mizoram and also in Manipur. From there, the Indian government is deporting them back, calling them illegal immigrants and respectfully sending them back. Respectfully sending them back. Now, whether those people are not persecuted, because your clause says Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Afghanistan. So there is no mention of Myanmar. Even if they belong to a community like Christian community, and even if they are persecuted because they are from Myanmar, they are not worth of consideration, right?
That's right.
Okay.
There is an, you see, please understand that this is an exclusionary law. This excludes people from citizenship, from the opportunity of gaining an Indian citizenship. Even if hang on, even if their family and their parents may have been of Indian origin, something which is allowed for the Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, Buddhists, and Parsis, but is not being allowed for the Muslim minority. Why?
Okay. We will get to that, ma'am. You For all our viewers, you must have understood by now that I call Shikha Mukherjee ma'am because she is very senior to me, and when I had started my career, she had almost guided me through as how to how to follow news and how to pursue news. So even if she scolds me, don't take it otherwise of her. She has all the right to scold me whenever she says hang on. She's coming from that sense of right which people like me belonging to this generation had given to her. So let's move on to the other
Thank you,
page.
Tamal. I don't even. I don't even. I'm not even conscious of this.
I know. The discussion is very serious, which we have to keep it easy for people to understand. There is something called oath of allegiance. I
Hmm.
do solemnly affirm or swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established, and that I will faithfully observe the laws of India and fulfill my duties as a citizen of India. This is mentioned, and as ma'am was referring, documents to be attached with the application by the applicant: a copy of one of the document in Schedule 1A, a copy of one of the document in Schedule 1B, an affidavit in form as in Schedule 1C, a copy of their valid or expired foreign passport if available, a copy of valid or expired residential permit if available, evidence of date of birth of the parents, a copy of the passport or birth certificate. In case of non-availability of passport of mother and father, birth certificate of the applicant clearly indicating the name, address, and nationality of mother and father. Uh, I want to refer to this particular line and refer to an incident which is little personal. Now, I know of somebody who belongs to my extended family. Now, that gentleman had come from Bangladesh back in 1950s. Okay. Now, thereafter, he has been an Indian citizen and he has been given citizenship. He has a voter ID card. He has a Aadhaar card. He has a PAN card. He has bank accounts. He has a house in West Bengal. He has traveled in several parts of the country. Very recently, he had applied for a passport. Very recently. Now, when he had applied for the passport, the ask was that he has to submit a birth certificate. Now, the birth certificate was not available. In that case, the ask was you have to submit your school pass out certificate or your board certificate, which mentions your place of birth and also your year of birth. Again, that was not available. However, there is a voter ID card and there is an Aadhaar card, but they were not considered. What asked to be considered is that once you had come from Bangladesh, you were given a slip back in 1950s. When you crossed the border, you were given a slip. Produce that slip or else your passport won't be granted. Believe you me, his passport has not been granted. It's still lying there. And every passport office he has gone to, on first occasion it was rejected, On second occasion, it's still on hold because they are saying in first occasion, if it's been rejected on grounds of CAA, even when the rules have not been enforced, the second time chances of getting a passport is very, very slim. So it is a real situation where somebody has gotten a passport, even though having a voter ID card and Aadhaar card, bank account, and all other documents proving the Indian nationality. But the very fact there is no passport, I don't know whether there is a question mark on his citizenship or not. What
Look,
do you say, ma'am?
Tamal, look at what's happening in Assam. Let's look at what's happened in Assam officially. There are reported there is detection of forged documents. Now, forged documents. How the government is getting into far deeper and deeper and deeper problems of messiness, because if it's a forged document, where was it forged? How was it forged? How do you prove it's forged? There are all kinds of ramifications. Now, this is becoming so messy. It's become so messy. Forget about everything else. If you just look at how incompetent the government is in terms of producing an error-free voter list or an error-free Aadhaar card, then you will realize that this whole process of identifying who is a citizen, who is not a citizen, is going to be time consuming, extremely expensive, a waste of public money, and just a discrimination based on the grounds of religion. What is going on? And then I am supposed to owe allegiance to the Constitution. How?
Absolutely, absolutely. How?
That is the contradiction in terms. I mean, how do I owe allegiance to a constitution which says that there is no discrimination on grounds of religion, and yet I'm being discriminated on the basis of religion? How? Even a privilege is a discrimination. I become privileged. That is also discrimination.
Well, citizenship now, it seems like it's a privilege now.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody has commented, कागज सबको दिखाना पड़ेगा. Somebody has commented, कागज सबको दिखाना पड़ेगा. मैम, ये सच्चाई होने से कितना दूर है? कागज सबको दिखाना पड़ेगा. बिकॉज जब ये सीए का डिबेट शुरू हुआ 2019 में, बहुतों ने कहा कि कागज नहीं दिखाएंगे. बहुत सारे यूनिवर्सिटी के स्टूडेंट्स आके निकल के बोले कागज नहीं दिखाएंगे. हिंदुस्तानी है, इंडियन है, कागज नहीं दिखाएंगे. अब इसका क्या करेंगे? अगर लॉ मांग करती है कि आपको कागज दिखाना पड़ेगा, तो आपको कागज दिखाना पड़ेगा. कागज नहीं दिखाने से कैसे होगा? हाउ विल इट वर्क?
वो एनआरसी के लिए है. कागज नहीं दिखाएंगे इज एनआरसी लिस्टिंग.
ओके,
एनआरसी लिस्टिंग, नेशनल रजिस्टर ऑफ सिटीजन. अगर हमको नेशनल रजिस्टर ऑफ सिटीजन में अपना नाम लिखवाना है, तो हमें तो नाम है, बाय द वे, अपना नाम तो है नेशनल रजिस्टर ऑफ सिटीजन में.
हाँ,
एंड दैट फिर अगर नाम है तो इसका प्रमाण देना पड़ेगा कि हम इंडियन हैं, इसीलिए कागज नहीं दिखाएंगे.
अच्छा. आपको लगता है मैम क्रोनोलॉजी में अभी सीए के बाद एनआरसी भी आने वाला है?
वो आना ही पड़ेगा, क्योंकि सीए के बगैर, एनआरसी के बगैर सीए नहीं हो सकता.
अच्छा. और दूसरी बात है, अभी उसी क्रोनोलॉजी में अगर देखें तो डिलिमिटेशन भी होने वाला है. उसी क्रोनोलॉजी में देखें तो न्यू
सेंसस नहीं है तो डिलिमिटेशन कहां से होगा?
मैं आ रहा हूं ना, सेंसस होने वाला है ना. क्या मैम, उन्होंने कहा कि 33% महिलाओं को रिजर्वेशन देंगे. वो डिलिमिटेशन और सेंसस के ऊपर तो करना ही पड़ेगा ना. अभी करेंगे.
कहां से नोटिफिकेशन? अरे सीए
क्यों, मोदी जी का गारंटी नहीं है उसमें?
ना, नहीं है.
क्या बात कर रहे हैं?
हकीकत है कि उनका गारंटी सेंसस के बारे में कुछ नहीं है.
उनका गारंटी है, बार बार कह रहे हैं.
देखो, ये भी समझ लो कि सीएए एनआरसी, सीएए का नोटिफिकेशन जारी कर दिया, तो सेंसस का नोटिफिकेशन जारी करने में इतना हिचक क्यों?
सही बात, कर दीजिए. और सबसे बड़ी बात जो चीज है मैम, थोड़ा पश्चिम बंगाल को लेके डिस्कस करेंगे. किसी ने कमेंट में लिखा है थोड़ा हिंदी में भी बात कीजिए, तो कोशिश करेंगे हिंदी में बात करने की. दो बंगाली बात करें, थोड़ा सह लीजिएगा. और हमारे देश के सभी भाषा राष्ट्रभाषा है। तो इसीलिए पश्चिम बंगाल की अगर बात करें तो हमेशा जब भी सीएए का आलोचना हुई है तो मतुआ वोट के बारे में बात किया गया है। आपने भी उसका जिक्र किया कि मतुआ वोट टारगेट है। 2019 से पहले प्रधानमंत्री बांग्लादेश में गए, मतुआ की जो संप्रदाय की जो मंदिर है उसमें जाके माथा टेक के आए। उसके बाद पश्चिम बंगाल में आके मतुआस को बोले कि आप लोगों को ये सीएए आपके हित में है। मतुआस ने एक डिमांड भी किया था कि हम लोग को सिटीजनशिप चाहिए। लेकिन अगर बात करें मतुआ वोट्स की, अगर बात करें मतुआ वोट्स की, तो ये मतुआ वोट डिसाइडिंग फैक्टर है ऑलमोस्ट इन 30 असेंबली कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल 27 कहते हैं, हाँ।
27 के आसपास। उसके बाद अनादर 20 से 25 सीटों पे, असेंबली सीटों पे मतुआ का इन्फ्लुएंस एक है। मतुआ जो कम्युनिटी है, शेड्यूल कास्ट कम्युनिटी है, पश्चिम बंगाल में द सेकंड लार्जेस्ट शेड्यूल कास्ट कम्युनिटी है। करेक्ट मी इफ आई एम रॉन्ग मैम।
हाँ हाँ,
एंड
बिल्कुल।
एंड पश्चिम बंगाल में लगभग 3 करोड़ उनका पॉपुलेशन है, राइट?
हम्म।
अच्छा, तो अभी 3 करोड़ पॉपुलेशन में अगर मान ले 50% वोटर है, 50% वोटर है, तो जो वोटर आईडी कार्ड लेके वोट देने जा रहे हैं, जिनका वोट आप मांग रहे हो, जिनके वोट से इन कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में डिसाइड हो रहा है कि आप किसको अपना लीडर मानेंगे, तो अगर वो वोट दे पा रहे हैं मैम, तो उसके बाद सिटीजनशिप प्रूव करने का क्या नौबत आ जाएगा मतुआस की? मुझे ये समझ में नहीं आया कि अगर मतुआस वोट दे सकते हैं और मतुआस के वोट डिसाइड कर सकते हैं 30 से 35 सीटों की फॉर्चून, 27 सीट तो मान ही लीजिए, उसके बाद 30 से 35 सीटों का फॉर्चून असेंबली कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज में, तो ये सीए कैसे एज अ सेलिंग फैक्टर हो सकता है मतुआस को?
अब ये भी तो मानना पड़ेगा कि वो शांतनु ठाकुर मंत्री कैसे बने। वो तो भाजपा के मंत्री हैं, मोदी सरकार में मंत्री हैं, तो वो मंत्री कैसे हैं?
हाँ, तो मुझे ये चीज
ये
एक्चुअली समझ में
ये
नहीं आता है कि
ये,
हाउ इज इट important for Matuas? If the government says, forget all the debate, if the government says, Tamal, there are 10 people in Bangladesh who are Hindus or who are Parsis who have been persecuted religiously. I don't know how they would prove it, but if they claim that they have been religiously persecuted and they want citizenship of India, what is your problem? Let us give them citizenship. इंडिया का दिल बहुत बड़ा है, 56 इंच से भी बड़ा है, तो हम उसको अडॉप्ट कर सकते हैं, एक्सेप्ट कर सकते हैं। लेकिन हाउ इज दैट मेकिंग अ डिफरेंस टू द मतुआस? That's where I'm not clear about, because they are citizens, they are voting.
they are voting, their people are ministers at the level of the center, in the state, तो हिचक तो है नहीं कोई। जब वोट की बारी आती है तब ये सब सिटीजनशिप प्रमाण, ये चाहिए वो चाहिए, कहाँ कहाँ जन्म पत्री चाहिए तो कुछ और चाहिए, ये सब भूल जाते हैं। क्योंकि जो जो प्रायोरिटी है वो है वोट। और अगर मतुआ वोट जिस पार्टी की तरफ जाएगी उस पार्टी में जीतने का संभावना बढ़ जाता है। तो इसीलिए ये मतुआ वोट जो है, ये इस पे जो जो नजर है, भाजपा का भी नजर है, तृणमूल का भी नजर है। ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है कि एक तरफ में ही नजर है। विरोधी पक्ष और सत्ता पक्ष दोनों का नजर ये मतुआ वोट पे है। और ये मतुआ वोट समझना कि ये एक तरफ ही वोट करता है, एक ही पार्टी के लिए वोट देता है, ऐसा नहीं है।
नहीं, एकदम नहीं है मैम, एकदम नहीं है। अगर 2019 में 4 जो शेड्यूल कास्ट रिजर्व सीट्स है पश्चिम बंगाल में, 2019 के अगर लोकसभा सीट की बात करें, 42 में से 4 है आपका, 10 है रिजर्व फॉर एससी। आउट ऑफ दोस 10, 4 were won by BJP because they managed to sway the Matua vote share. That's what happened in 2019. आप देख लीजिए, you have Ranaghat, you had Bonga, and similarly there are seats which are reserved for SC. Those seats had gone to BJP because they have been they managed well to woo the Matua votes. However, in 2021, not necessarily that same thing got replicated. There was a huge shift, and they had also got split. They had come back to Trinamool Congress, at least in 27 seats in not 24 Parganas alone, where TMC had won.
Now, if you look at the situation, look at what is going to happen in Ranaghat. Mukut Mani Adhikari, who is a TMC candidate, was
Mm-hmm.
in the BJP. He was
Mm-hmm.
an MLA. He has moved. He's now been nominated as a parliamentary candidate. He's a Matua.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, what will the Matua vote do? Will it vote Trinamool? Will it vote BJP? They voted for him last time when he was a BJP candidate. How will they vote for him this time when he's a Trinamool candidate?
Hmm.
All kinds of issues are coming up. Therefore,
Or
the Matua vote is important, but the assumption that the Matua vote is the exclusive property of any one party is wrong.
एक बार तस्वीरें दिखाना चाहेंगे मैम, बने रही हमारे साथ तिताश. There is a clip which shows people celebrating and in Bonga. If you can kindly play that video. As soon as this was said, now again I don't say I can't take absolute responsibility about about which side they belong to, whether they have any political allegiance or not. But then these people were seen celebrating outside the temple, outside the Matua temple, Thakur temple, and 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 they were celebrating in a very joyous manner. There were about 20, 15 to 20 people. Now those celebration visuals are coming in, but please recall it was not all celebratory in Meghalaya. मैम मुझे करेक्ट कीजिएगा इफ आई एम रॉन्ग, पर मेघालय में जब ये सीए का मुद्दा आया, and that was a different aspect altogether. Now Meghalaya Chief Minister Konark Sangma has said that we are trying to extend the ILP, inner line permit, and as far as CAA is concerned, it will only be implemented in region which doesn't come under the Sikh schedule. Now
That's right.
all of Meghalaya is under Sikh schedule minus a small portion which is Shillong, a very small portion in Shillong. So the state government of Konark Sangma, that is NPP, who are in alliance with BJP, they're saying that there shouldn't be any trouble. But we had seen the trouble back in 2019 and 2020 when student bodies had protested that we do not want CAA, because if you give CAA and citizenship to Bengalis coming from Bangladesh, it might just interfere into our tribal norms. It might just interfere into our indigenous customs, and they are not open about it at all.
See, what they fear and what they are worried about is the change in the composition of the population, where the tribals in certain parts would then become minorities in their own land. This is something that in the tribal areas of the Northeast, where there is a Bengali population as well, there are enormous problems. And therefore, you have all sorts of exceptions provided within the CAA Act on where the CAA can be implemented and where it cannot. One is the inner line permit. The other one is the autonomous areas and council areas where different tribal communities live. But there is a problem, and it's messy. And I go back to my original statement that this only makes things messier, it complicates lives, and it wastes a lot of money.
Can this by any chance be used? Even the Union Home Minister has said कि सारे जितने राजनीतिक दल है और जो पार्टी से रेफरिंग बैठा रहे लोगों को, किसी की सिटीजनशिप नहीं छीनी जाएगी, किसी की सिटीजनशिप नहीं छीनी जाएगी. ये ऑपोजिशन पार्टीज लोगों को बहका रहे हैं, जबकि ममता बनर्जी ने आज ऑलरेडी स्टेटमेंट दे चुकी है, calling it this is not freedom at midnight, this is BJP's bluff, uh, BJP's jumla. On the other hand, you have Kerala Chief Minister saying that this is
Yes.
divisive politics of BJP and they are not going to implement it. We already have in Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal previously opposing it. Congress has already called this. Jairam Ramesh, Titash, if you can pull up the tweet of Jairam Ramesh, Congress General Secretary, calling it nothing but diversionary tactic of BJP, and of course trying to fool people, and of course offuscate election perception right ahead of election. The political, the slugfest, let that be on a screen, Titash. I want to go back to ma'am. 2-3 दिन में इलेक्शन अगर अनाउंस होने वाला है मैम, आपने कहा ये मोदी जी का गारंटी है, मोदी का गारंटी, उनका गारंटी, उनका गारंटी है, गारंटी का गारंटी है, तो उन्होंने इसको रूल्स तो नोटिफाई कर दिया. Now, if election gets announced, there would be model code of conduct, which means this effectively will not be effective because the government will not be able to handle any application at that point in time, right?
Well, what it does is create an impression that Modi ki guarantee means if you vote for Modi, then obviously your citizenship is guaranteed. Application will be guaranteed.
No, लेकिन
हमारे हमारे हमारा हमारा जो समझ है वो बहुत साधारण समझ है. साधारण आदमी को ऐसे ही लगेगा.
नहीं, आप मुझे बताइए मैम, अगर ये अभी तो हो गया, ये कानून इंप्लीमेंट कर दिया गया है, रूल्स फ्रेम करके नोटिफाई कर दिया गया है, और मुझे समझ में नहीं आता ये जो रूल्स है, आपको लगता है ये सारे चीज जो लिखा हुआ है, इसको लिखने में, इसका ड्राफ्ट बनाने में 4 साल लग सकता है? बिकॉज पिछली दफा गृह मंत्री ने कहा था कि कोविड के चलते समय लग गया, लेकिन कोविड बीत गया, एक बहुत पुरानी बीती बात है. 2020 से लेके वो बहुत पुराना बात हो गया. 2021 में भर भर के इलेक्शन हुए, पश्चिम बंगाल के इलेक्शन हुआ, तब कोविड सब गए थे तेल लेने, और मद्रास हाईकोर्ट ने साफ साफ कहा था कि कोविड 2021 में फैला तो उसके लिए जिम्मेदार सिर्फ और सिर्फ इलेक्शन कमीशन है. मद्रास हाईकोर्ट ने कहा था कि व्हाई शुडंट इलेक्शन कमीशन बी स्लैप्ड विद मर्डर चार्जेस, ये मद्रास हाईकोर्ट का कहना है. सो कहने की बात है कि इलेक्शंस हुई, एक नहीं बार बार बहुत सारी इलेक्शंस हुई. बंगाल की इलेक्शन हुई, नॉर्थ ईस्ट के स्टेट्स में इलेक्शन हुई, त्रिपुरा, मेघालय, मिजोरम, नागालैंड में इलेक्शन हुआ, उसके बाद आपका उत्तर प्रदेश में इलेक्शन हुआ, कर्नाटका, राजस्थान, मध्य प्रदेश. कहाँ इलेक्शन नहीं हुआ? इलेक्शन हुआ, इलेक्शन के बाद सरकार बने, सरकार बनने के बाद सरकार गिरे, फिर तोड़ फोड़ के फिर नया सरकार बने. तो जिंदगी तो बहुत आगे चली गई. तो ये सारे 39 पेजेस को लिखने के लिए आपको 4 साल लग गए मैम. वुड यू बिलीव?
No, I refuse to believe.
You won't believe?
कैसे मान लूं? 4 साल थोड़ी ना लगते हैं ऐसा कागज बनाने के लिए.
4 साल 39
देखो ये 39 पेजेस में बहुत सारी पेजेस हैं ऐसे जो बिल्कुल फॉर्म्स हैं. फॉर्म्स तो एक ही ढांचा है वो फॉर्म्स का. फॉर्म्स का ऊपर का हेडिंग सिर्फ बदल के जाता है. फॉर्म्स का जो कंटेंट है उसमें कोई बदलाव नहीं है. वो पर्सन हु इज मैरिड टू एन इंडियन सिटीजन, माइनर हु इज बोर्न ऑफ पेरेंट्स हु आर इंडियन, ये सब सिर्फ नॉमेनक्लेचर की फर्क है. ये कागजात बनाने में कितना टाइम लगता है?
आप देख लीजिए, ये जो फॉर्म है, फॉर्म 11A, सर्टिफिकेट ऑफ रजिस्ट्रेशन, ये फॉर्म, मैम ने सवाल पूछा है कि ये फॉर्म बनाने में कब आपको कितना समय लगेगा, ये फॉर्म बनाने में आपको कितना समय लग सकता है. दिस इज टू सर्टिफाई दैट पर्सन whose particulars are given below has been registered as a citizen of India under the provisions of section 6B and fulfilling the conditions under section 5 subsection 1 subsection G of Citizenship Act 1955 with effect from the date of entry into India as mentioned in 8 below. Name of father, name of mother, name of husband or wife, date of birth, place of birth, previous nationality, date of entry, occupation, certificate of registration number, date and place of issue of overseas citizen of India, card holder, mark of identification, address. Almost what you've seen in the other form. So you haven't really invested another set of intelligence or different kind of effort or different set of bureaucrats to draft this very form, because this is almost the same as far as the other forms are concerned. For example, oath of allegiance, for example, form 5A, application for registration as a citizen of India under section 6B. So all these forms minus the header, they all read almost the same. The addition to what I can find is these pages, like schedule 1A, the citizenship rule 2009. Please mention copy of passport issued by government of Pakistan or Bangladesh or Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, or Pakistan. Registration certificate or residential permit issued by Foreigners National Registration Office or Foreigners Registration Office in India. Birth certificate issued by government authority in Afghanistan or Bangladesh. So these are possibly the only fresh rules or clauses or terms and conditions added to the form. Otherwise, it seems like a very standard form. Won't you agree, ma'am?
Absolutely. This is what I'm saying. Now, how long does it take?
Okay.
This
So
is let me Tamal, instead of sort of making it more complicated, let's be very clear. It's much of the a lot of the pages of this 39-page document are copy paste. So if you're going to do a copy paste job over pages and pages and pages, I can feel cheated as an Indian. That why is my money being wasted over 4 odd years to produce a document, half of which is copy paste? I can also raise the question why, as an Indian, I'm supposed to waste my money, hard-earned money, on pursuing something like CAA and NRC, which is messy, instead of having a census first. I can question it. It is my right as a citizen to do so. And if my opinion today is that it is a mess, and it is going to get messier if I look at what happened in Assam, then I'm perfectly entitled to that opinion.
मैम मुझे एक चीज एकदम साफ साफ बताइए, आप चाहे तो बंगाली में भी बता सकते हैं, जो मुतुआ कम्युनिटी के लोग हैं, अगर उनके समझने में आसानी हो जाए, अगर ये चीज उनको सौंप दी जाए, क्या उनको लगेगा कि वोट देने जाने से पहले उनकी जो मांग थी सिटीजनशिप को लेके वो पूरा हो गया? अगर किसी को लगता है कि वो सिटीजनशिप का कोई अलग स्पेशल कार्ड उनको मिलेगा, एक सम्मान मिलेगा, तो ये कागज अगर उनको पकड़ा दे, फॉर्म सब कुछ है इसमें, तो क्या उसको हाथ में लेके वोट देने जाने से पहले जो कार्ड, ये ऑनर या फिर कोई अलग बेनिफिट या फिर और कोई सर्टिफिकेट, वो उनको मिल जाएगा?
देखो तमाल, ये सवाल का जवाब एक ही होता है कि अलग अलग लोग अलग अलग तरह से इसको समझेंगे. अब उनके समझ में मुझे लग सकता है कि उनकी समझ में कुछ गलती है. उनको लगेगा कि नहीं, वो सही निर्णय पे पहुंच रहे हैं. ये कहना मुश्किल है. लेकिन साधारण रूप से अगर मैं देखूं तो मुझे लगता है कि ये जल्दबाजी में कुछ होने वाला तो है नहीं, क्योंकि बहुत सारी कागजात उनको दिखानी पड़ेंगी.
उनको भी अरेंज करना पड़ेगा.
नहीं, जब तक वो कागजात वो नहीं दिखा पाएंगे तब तक क्या करेंगे? वो नॉन सिटीजन होके घूमेंगे. अगर वो सरकारी नौकरी कर रहे हैं,
हाँ,
तो उनका क्या हालत होगा?
और सोच लीजिए, अगर इलेक्शंस अगर ना होता अभी, तो अभी सुब्रत ठाकुर का क्या होता, शांतनु ठाकुर का क्या होता? वो मिनिस्टर है.
नहीं, उसके बारे में मैं उस आलोचना में मैं जा ही नहीं रही हूँ. अगर कोई सरकारी नौकरी करता हो तो उसका क्या हालत होगा? क्योंकि सरकारी नौकरी वही कर सकता है जो नागरिक है. तो उसका क्या होगा? अगर वो बीएसएफ में जवान है, या सीआईएसएफ में जवान है, या आर्मी में दाखिल है, तो उसका क्या होगा? वो क्या कहेगा कि नहीं, हम और नागरिक नहीं है, हमको ये नौकरी हमको हम छोड़ रहे हैं? कैसा होगा?
मुझे तो ताजुब लग रहा है कि इतने छोटे छोटे पॉइंट्स बनाने में उनको 4 साल लग कैसे गए.
और वो तो देखो, पैसा बर्बाद करने में सरकार माहिर है.
मैं नहीं बोल रहा हूँ मैम, आप बोलिए, मैं नहीं बोलूंगा. मुझे अभी बाहर जाके काम वाम करना है, तो अभी तो जानते ही है, आपको कोई एंटी नेशनल बोल देगा अभी, तो मेरा सिटीजनशिप कोई अगर
मुझे बोल दे तो मैं क्या करूं? मैं क्या करूं अगर मुझे इंटरनेशनल लोग मुझे अगर सेडिशन चार्ज पे पकड़ लें या मुझे इंटरनेशनल बोल दें, या जैसे मुझको सुनना पड़ा है कि हम खान मार्केट गैंग वाले हैं, तो मैं क्या करूं? लोगों के
खान
समझ में
मार्केट
अगर
गैंग
ऐसा ही
वाले,
है,
लुटियंस दिल्ली बंगलों के लिए आप ऐसे ये सब कहती है मैम, बंगलों के लिए। उसके बाद अभी नया ट्रेंड हो रहा है, कोई भी अगर ऐसा कुछ सवाल उठा लेना तो नीचे लिखा जाता है कि इस सरकार से, इस पार्टी से आपको 2 BHK मिल रहा है, 3 BHK मिल रहा है, इसीलिए आप ऐसे चिल्ला चिल्ला के सवाल उठा रहे। और पश्चिम बंगाल में
ठीक है।
अगर कोई काम कर ले और
अब देखो, मेरे इतनी उम्र की हो गई है कि ये सब बकवास मुझे न सुनना है न समझना है।
हम लोग तो भी एकदम इग्नोर करते हैं, दिन रात चोटी चाटा बुलाए जाते हैं, फर्क नहीं पड़ता है। लेकिन मैम एक चीज अभी और थोड़ा सीरियस नोट में आएंगे। ये ये आपने कहा कि एनआरसी वाला जो मुद्दा था, उसने उस टाइम सबने कहा कागज नहीं दिखाएंगे, कागज नहीं दिखाएंगे। आज के तारीख में लग रहा है एसबीआई कह रहा है कि हम कागज नहीं दिखाएंगे। सुप्रीम कोर्ट में कह रहा है कि तारीख पे तारीख दीजिए, तारीख पे तारीख दीजिए, जून तक तारीख दीजिए, अभी कागज नहीं दिखाएंगे। आज रपेटा लगा है एसबीआई को कि चलो 2 दिन के अंदर, यानी कल तक इलेक्शन कमीशन को सब कुछ सबमिट करो और 15 तारीख तक सब वेबसाइट में आना चाहिए। अभी शुरुआत में जैसे मैंने कहा मैम, दिन के शुरू में ऐसे लगा कि सारे सारे लोग एसबीआई लेके डिबेट करेंगे, डिस्कशन करेंगे। शाम होते होते सीए पे सब घुस गए। तो क्या ध्यान हटाने का कुछ प्रयास था मैम?
देखो, ध्यान हटाने का प्रयास ये राजनीति है। ध्यान हटाने में ध्यान हटाने का प्रयास जारी सब हर वक्त रहता है, क्योंकि जो अनकंफर्टेबल सवाल हैं, अनकंफर्टेबल इश्यूज हैं, उस पे कौन ध्यान रख कौन देश का ध्यान चाहता है कि वहीं पे अटक जाए। लेकिन ये सही बात है कि ये बॉन्ड पैसा कहाँ से आ रहा है? पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज, यानी कि सबसे बड़ी जो पार्टी है, दुनिया में सबसे बड़ी पार्टी है, उसका पैसा कहाँ से आ रहा है?
कहां से आ रहा है?
ये सवाल पूछने का हक हमें है। और ये हक अगर सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है कि आप जो जो बैंक है उसको कहा है कि भैया अपना 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 अकाउंट दिखा दीजिए, तो एसबीआई को इतना क्या प्रॉब्लम है अकाउंट दिखाने में? देखो, सवाल, मैं कुछ दिन पहले सुन रही थी कि ये पहले वो हमारे देश के फिनेंस सेक्रेटरी रह चुके, अर्थ अर्थ सचिव रह चुके हैं, मिस्टर गर्ग कह रहे थे कि एक दिन का मामला है, सब अकाउंट्स तो कंप्यूटराइज्ड है, तो ये कंप्यूटराइज्ड अकाउंट निकालने में कितना टाइम लगता है? ये तो
एक्चुअली
लाखों की एंट्रीज तो है नहीं।
नहीं,
देखो,
आप सोचिए।
वेरी वेरी सिंपल, ये लाखों की एंट्रीज नहीं है, यानी कि एंट्री पे एंट्री हुआ है। ये हर साल कुछ कुछ लोग पैसा दे रहे हैं, तो इतना इतना सारा कहाँ से अकाउंट है? इतना सारा कागज, इतना सारा क्या निकालना है? तो काफी कुछ, बहुत ही लिमिटेड एंट्रीज हैं, उसको निकाल के दिखा देने में क्या दिक्कत है?
और
एक
सोचिए ना,
दिन का सवाल है।
जब भी हम लोग ऑनलाइन बैंकिंग करते हैं मैम, बहुत आसान सा चीज है। जब भी कोई हम लोग बैंकिंग ऑनलाइन बैंकिंग करते हैं तो अपना स्टेटमेंट अगर डाउनलोड करना हो, आपके पास एक पीरियड टाइम होता है कि आप टाइप इन योर पीरियड टू योर बिगिनिंग फ्रॉम एंड एंड पीरियड। उस पीरियड के अंदर आपका जो स्टेटमेंट है वो पीडीएफ निकल के आ जाएगा, आपके घर पे चला जाएगा, पीडीएफ आप डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं। तो अगर सारे सब कुछ डिजिटल इंडिया में, एसबीआई डिजिटल एसबीआई में सब कुछ डिजिटली सेव्ड है, कोई क्लाउड स्पेस में या फिर कोई कंप्यूटर के हार्ड ड्राइव में, कितना समय लग सकता है टू एक्सेस दैट, extract that information, and humanly nobody has to do, it's all software। अगर डिजिटली है तो सॉफ्टवेयर में होगा, अगर सॉफ्टवेयर में है तो उसका प्रिंट आउट भी निकल सकता है, तो इतना समय क्यों लगेगा?
यही तो गर्ग साहब सॉरी, यही तो गर्ग साहब पूछ रहे थे कि एक दिन का काम है तो इतना इतना लंबा चौड़ा क्या एक एक्सप्लेनेशन है? तो देखते हैं क्या होता है।
देखेंगे
और
मैम,
ये
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका समय देने के. You started coughing and I will not take more time of yours, but as I showed, we had access the entire 39 page 39 all the 39 pages of the rules, and believe you me, the first two pages are mostly the rules that that one has to go through. Rest are all forms which you have to fill in, and these are all demo forms. You can also do it online, but इसका जो असर इलेक्शंस पे कितना होगा, ये देखने वाली चीज होगी. राजनीतिक तर से ही इसका असर कितना ज्यादा होगा, ये देखने वाली चीज होगी. पश्चिम बंगाल, केरला, दिल्ली, बहुत सारे राज्य हैं जहां पे इसका ऑपोजिशन किया गया. आप देखिए, मणिपुर में एक सेक्शन है जिनका डिमांड है सीए, एक सेक्शन है जिनका डिमांड नहीं है सीए. आप जाइए मिजोरम में, एक सेक्शन का डिमांड है सीए का. आप जाइए मेघालय में, एक सेक्शन का डिमांड है कि सीए ना हो. तो ये बहुत सारे मिक्स्ड रिएक्शंस है चारों तरफ. उसके बीच 2-3 दिन से पहले जब इलेक्शन डेट्स अनाउंस होने वाले हैं, तब ये नोटिफाई कर दिया गया है. मोदी जी कहेंगे उनका गारंटी, उनकी गारंटी ही गारंटियों का गारंटी है. तो उनका गारंटी उन्होंने जो दिया था 2019 से पहले, वो लागू हो चुका है. लेकिन वास्तविकता में ये कितना असरदार होगा इलेक्शन से पहले, जो सिटीजनशिप के लिए इसको सीए नया रूल को यूज करना चाहेंगे, वो देखने वाली चीज होगी. एंड सबसे महत्वपूर्ण चीज जो है, ये इलेक्शन की जो माहौल है, उस माहौल में किस तरीके से ये टेम्परेचर सोर करवाएगा सीए. क्योंकि हम लोग कोई नहीं भूले 2019 के बाद किस तरीके से हम लोग ने प्रोटेस्ट देखा. 2019 से पहले भी देखा, 2019 के बाद भी देखा. सड़कों पे प्रोटेस्ट देखा, ममता बनर्जी ने लीड की. उधर पे केरला में प्रोटेस्ट हुआ. मेघालय में जो एंटी सीए प्रोटेस्ट हुआ, उसमें 2 लोगों की मौत भी हुई थी. इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, यस, 2 लोगों की मौत भी हुई थी. तो इस इलेक्शन के माहौल पे who would be using this as how, we have to wait and see. But then whether this is a diversionary tactic to divert attention from the SBI electoral bond controversy, again, that's a question doing rounds, but nothing doing. Many are focusing on electoral bonds today. We would also be focusing on electoral bonds tomorrow. And when the list is being published as being directed by Supreme Court by 15th of March, whether I do or ma'am does or they do, you yourself will be able to do it just by going onto the Election Commission website. Unless there is a complete shutdown of internet, unless uh, the data service provider bars from providing data service to you, unless the website crashes, and unless SBI continues to say हम कागज नहीं दिखाएंगे. चलिए, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमसे जुड़ने के लिए. मैम, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमसे जुड़ने के लिए.
Thank you.
छोड़ने से पहले बस एक बार हम कमेंट पे, मैम चाहे तो आप रह सकते हैं हमारे साथ. इफ यू वांट यू कैन स्टे, but I'll just go through a couple of comments, or else if you are feeling itchy about your throat, you can leave.
Thank
Producer,
you.
thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for your time. It was lovely discussing the issue with you. Thank you so much. Somebody has written, তমালদা বাংলায় যারাই অ্যাপ্লাই করবে সিএ তে নিজেদের আগে বাংলাদেশি বলে সঙ্গে সঙ্গে তাদের ভোটের আধার ভুয়ো হয়ে যাবে, তারা তৎক্ষণাৎ বিদেশি হয়ে যাবে. রাইটিং সৌরভ সাহা, almost you know expressing the fear that if whoever is applying for this will have to first declare that he or she is a Bangladeshi citizenship, and the moment he or she does so, his voter ID card would be null and void, and the person will not be able to cast vote. Thereafter, somebody is saying, I'm scared for future generation also. What will we pass to them? Hatred. We can't change the past. It will create problems and just problems. No nation can have only one religion, says Minashi Singh. Again, leisure inbound in username says, stop EVM कहने वाले 2014 के इलेक्शन में क्यों हटा दिया, इतना ही मैनिपुलेशन होता है तो इंडिया. सॉरी, आई कुडंट गेट दैट. स्टॉप ईवीएम कहने वाले 2014 के इलेक्शन में क्यों हटा दिया, इतना ही मैनिपुलेशन होता है तो. ओके. Somebody says electoral bond. Somebody has used and abused. It's an open welcome to communal violence and overpopulation. It's an open welcome to overpopulation, for overpopulation and unscientific urbanization and industrialization during the times of crisis. Right? Somebody called Anway. There are other comments. Uh, প্রবাল ঘোষ writes, পাতি বাংলা ভাষায় বাংলা কথায় এটা একটা জুমলা যেটা ভোটের আগে so and so মতুয়া সম্প্রদায়কে okay. Somebody has written Rajnikant Goswami had a question for uh, Shikha ma'am, stating, but ma'am, if government have implemented, they have thought about it. Let we see in future prediction today may not important. Okay, future prediction of this might not be important. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for connecting with us. We have stayed on this story for almost 1 hour, and thank you so much for staying on with the story for 1 hour with us. We will go through the finer details of the entire act and figure out what is so significant and what is important for people to know. What is important for people to know so that there are no rumors? What is important for people to know so that there remains no fear? And if there is something for which you need to press the alarm button, we will do that as well. We will go through each and every word, each and every line. But again, we say this is no way, for us at least, an attempt working on us to divert our attention from the SBI electoral bond issue to the new one, which is CAA. Thank you everyone for joining with us this Monday evening. We will come back to you once again with more live broadcasts, with more stories. Please do like, share, and subscribe. It's an earnest request. Please do like, share, and subscribe. If you don't like the story, do give us feedback. We would work on your feedback to make ourselves better. We consider you as part of our family, अपना परिवार, हमारा परिवार. चाहे आप जितना भी गालियां दे दो, तब भी आप रहोगे हमारा परिवार. और आपके हर एक सुझाव हमारे लिए बहुत बहुत important है. Thank you so much for watching this live broadcast. Good night. Take care. Do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and do not forget to share this channel with your friends and families. Thank you for watching.